I'm Alexandra Harbushka. Okay, you are following me on my postpartum journey, my 60 days of postpartum back to my pre-pregnancy weight. So thank you for joining me. You can always hit subscribe, follow along, see what's going on, see where I'm going with all this. So today is day 28 of 60, and just to give you a quick update, I am 135 pounds. So I'm staying around that 35, 36, 34 pounds. I'm 135 today. I am not exercising because I have not been cleared for exercise yet. That's not until 6 weeks of postpartum. So I have 2 more weeks to go with that. And my weight going in, well, let me start that over. My pre-pregnancy weight is 120 pounds, what my body likes. It's what I can eat, eat, exercise, feel good, enjoy life, 120 pounds. And my pregnancy weight when I went into the hospital was 152 pounds. So I gained 32 pounds during my pregnancy, and that's where I am. So today we're gonna talk about how I left the hospital weighing more with Pitocin than when I went in. So just to give you an understanding of what Pitocin is and weight gain and how the whole thing works is Pitocin is a drug that is used for women to induce labor. So what induction means, or inducing labor, is when you basically create contractions in the womb to have the baby. So it's a pretty interesting process. There's various reasons on why you'd be doing this. My particular reason was I just had a really big baby. So my baby was really big, and they were like, in order for your baby to get out, we're gonna have to induce you. And they induced me at 39 weeks. So I was considered full term. It wasn't like he was early or anything. So they induced me. And what they do is they use this drug called Pitocin. And Pitocin basically creates contraction. So it's a pretty interesting thing, and there's a lot of pros and cons to it. But before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about bloating and pregnancy bloating. So that is very common in pregnancy. It can start around week 22 of pregnancy, and 3/4 of women, I'm trying to remember what I looked up, 3/4 of women, pregnant women, actually are bloated. So they will begin to bloat. And how do I pronounce that word, Bill? Edema?
Edema.
Edema. E-D-E-M-A. I want to call it edema. Like edible arrangements.
That's edamame.
Edamame. I want to call it edamame. Edema?
Edema.
See, my husband's over here. He didn't want to be in the video, but he doesn't realize that he's my information source. He's my Wikipedia.
Yeah.
He's my Google voice. Edema. Okay, so edema is the clinical term for basically bloating and water weight. And that's common. It can be, pregnancy is one of the common things. It can be through medication, it can be from surgery, but pregnancy is definitely one of the common side effects, or one of the causes of edema. And it basically is just water retention. It's usually pools down to your ankles and legs just due to gravity. But in pregnancy, it can be in your hands, it can be in your arm, this is your face, your hands, your face, and your legs. One of the things that they want to look for, the doctors, is that could be a sign of preeclampsia. That's a whole other subject. I'm just giving you the full rundown. So edema is very common. Personally, I really didn't have any water retention. I would say there were a few days here and there that I would take my wedding rings off at night, and I would take them off at the end of the day because it would be hot, or my fingers would be swollen. But I really didn't have that much of it. I found the days that I wasn't as active, so either it was a rest day for me or just wasn't active that day, were the days that I had water retention. So that was just an interesting thing for me. So back to my story about how I actually went to the hospital, left the hospital weighing more due to Pitocin, is because I was pumped with Pitocin, and I was in labor for 2.5 days. So basically I was on an IV for 2.5 days. That's a really long time to be putting fluids into your body. And the nurses told me, they're like, yeah, you're probably gonna bloat for the next day or two. I really thought nothing of it. And of course, I don't know if you're like me, but you're like, oh, that won't happen to me. Of course not. Like, I don't bloat or whatever. Yeah, let me tell you, it literally got worse and worse and worse each day, like as the days went on. I remember I went to put on my pajama pants after delivery, after labor and delivery, and like my pajama pants didn't fit because I had so much water retention. I was like, what just happened? My legs were like holding onto so much water, and I remember like walking, this is like 5 days postpartum, I remember walking and like my thighs would like jiggle. They were just filled with water, and it was so weird to me. I almost felt like a cartoon character, or like the sci-fi movies when they have people that like turn into water and they like have all these like special effects. Like I literally felt like that type of person. So I had so much water retention. I have pictures for you. I'll put it on alexandraharbushka.com on this blog post. So if you want to see them, you can see. But like my feet were huge, my ankles were huge. I would have crazy night sweats. I was like a mermaid every night, and I would go through 2 or 3 sets of pajamas because of course I was getting up all the time to nurse. And I would literally have like beads of sweat. My hair would be soaking wet. I would have to start on one side of the bed and like literally move as the night went on because my sheets were like soaking wet, right, Bill?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You were a sweat ball.
It was crazy, and then I'd have to move closer to Bill as the night went on because I'd be like shivering because I'd be so cold, I'd be so wet. Anyways, so that's just the body's way of getting rid of all that extra water weight. So I would love to hear if you had that experience. I don't exactly know what I weighed leaving the hospital. Unfortunately, I didn't weigh myself. I didn't have the energy to do it. I weighed myself about 5 days to a week later, and I was still 152. So like I came home weighing, I know for sure, way more. And then like 5 days later, 6, 7 days later, I weighed exactly the same as when I went in. So that was an interesting concept for me to see. So I'm so curious to see if you had that experience, what your experience was. I'd love to hear about it. Definitely let me know. And I'll see you tomorrow. I have 32 more days left. So I'm hovering around at this 135, 136. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I could be really overambitious and may not go anywhere. We'll see. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.